Yay! The snow is melting. Cue anxiety. Today I want to talk about goals. I am a perfectionist and extremist when it comes to setting goals. It's a big struggle I have with setting realistic ones. I allowed my anxiety monster to take control over my goal setting. This year, he's gonna take a backseat. Oh, deer poop. One thing I learned the hard way, this kind of stuff takes time. I remember circling on Google to get an estimate of how long it takes to build an abundant permaculture food forest from scratch. Average answer that I saw on several forums and websites was 3 years. Oh, hello, Rain. Mind you, I've already been here too. I'm late. I'm behind. And I need to hurry the heck up. That's when Anxiety Monster decided to try to do everything all at once. As some of you might know, with multitasking, you don't really get the best results. I learned on top of that things take a long time, that also you can't take anyone's advice, just take your own. It's all a matter of trial and error. This year is going to be about patience and taking one step at a time. So where do I even begin? I purchased this retaining wall thinking about YouTube to tell me how to install it. And some of the YouTubers made it look very easy and made it look like it took them no time at all. I took a stab at building my own fire pit, which is a mini version of this, and that took me 2 weeks. And it was a pain in the butt. I also forgot to put an entire layer of bricks on, so that will be a mini project. This is my first time seeing it since the fall. It looks pretty solid still, I think. This was a lot of hard work. And heck, my strawberries are still growing. I did a really good job, but I think there has to be the added benefit of looking nice as well. I need to get these piled twigs out of here and turn this back to grass. So another predicament is, where do I put this kitchen garden? This isn't the ideal place because I found that it prevents a lot of lawn equipment and things we need to move into the house or behind the house. This is the only path to get there. So the one idea that I showed in my previous video is possibly building some right here. But even then, it's still kind of in the way. So I'm thinking of only putting a couple kitchen garden beds here, and then this hillside gets quite a bit of sun. So ultimately, I'm thinking those few garden beds over by the old kitchen garden, and then doing a swale approach with this hilly crevice here and implementing hugel beds into the hillside. And that'll be the bulk of my produce. And then the last project to get done this year, wood. There's so much frickin' wood. We have these 2 giant piles that were here before we got here, and they're already rotted pretty significantly. So these will be perfect for building hugel beds. What the heck? Probably some type of attempt at erosion control. So these are the 4 main things we're going to actually accomplish this year. Try to. it's okay if we don't get there. Okay, but like, why are you doing all this stuff? Well, gee, I'm glad you asked. Ultimately, my vision for this beautiful property would be to be able to feed myself and family. Also, I would love to be able to create my own herbal tinctures and tonics. I'd really love to get rid of all these obnoxious invasive species that are choking out all of the beautiful native plants here. The thing that makes my heart thump louder whenever I think about it is the idea of growing Ohio native species here, rare and common, and being able to provide that to people for a really reasonable price in order to help bring those back to Ohio's natural habitats. I'm definitely not an expert in that area, but it's something I really want to do. So I'm gonna learn as much as I possibly can to reach that goal and to be able to provide that knowledge to others. There is so much about plants that we don't know about, and a lot of the times we're buying plants that in a year or two are going to be marked invasive because we don't know that they're just going to spread and choke out everything, killing everything in its path and taking over the world. I've actually planted invasive species myself without knowing. I don't know how I'm gonna get there yet. It's gonna take a lot of reading, but I know that every step of the way it's going to be worth it, no matter how long it takes. One important note that has nothing to do with any of this, but kind of, I will be recruiting my first employee. His name is Waldo. He'll be a permanent resident, and he'll be joining me on the entire permaculture journey, as well as all of you. And I'm sure my children will be thrilled.